It started like any other quiet weekend in Los Angeles. The city was easing into the holiday season, streets glowing with lights, people wrapping up end-of-year plans. And then, in a matter of hours, everything changed. Two people known and loved by millions were gone, and the person accused in connection with their deaths wasn't a stranger or a random suspect. It was their own son. What followed wasn't just shock, it was disbelief, confusion, and a flood of questions that still don't have clear answers. Because this story isn't just about what happened inside one home. It's about a family history that stretched back decades, filled with success, pressure, love, regret, and a struggle that never truly found peace. Rob Reiner wasn't just a director. He was a storyteller who helped define generations. His work shaped pop culture in ways that felt timeless, movies people quoted, rewatched, and passed down. He had a reputation for warmth, humor, and conviction, both on and off screen. To many, he represented the best version of Hollywood, talented, principled, and deeply human. By his side for decades was his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. She wasn't someone who chased the spotlight, but she made an impact in her own way. Friends described her as grounding, thoughtful, and fiercely loyal to the people she loved. Together, they built a life that looked solid from the outside: successful careers, a close family, and a long marriage that seemed unshakable. But behind that image was a reality far more complicated. They had children, and like many families, not every path was smooth. One path in particular became the center of years of worry, effort, and heartbreak. Their youngest son, Nick Reiner, grew up surrounded by privilege and expectations most people never experience, and from early on, he struggled. Nick's battle with addiction reportedly began when he was still a teenager. Over the years, there were repeated attempts at treatment, rehab, therapy, periods of hope followed by setbacks. People close to the family have said the cycle felt endless, every step forward followed by another fall. And while the resources were there, the answers never seemed to be. Nick himself spoke in the past about feeling uncomfortable with fame, about not fitting into the world people assumed he belonged in. He described periods where he drifted, sometimes without a stable place to live, sometimes pushing away the very people trying to help him. That tension between support and resistance only grew with time. At one point, Rob tried to reach his son the way he knew best, through storytelling. Father and son worked together on a film called Being Charlie, a story loosely inspired by Nick's own struggles with addiction. It was raw, personal, and for a moment it felt like a breakthrough, a chance for honesty, connection, and maybe healing. But making a movie couldn't fix everything. According to sources familiar with the family, the years that followed were still marked by conflict. There were moments of stability, but also reports of emotional volatility. One source described Nick as wanting a version of life that didn't really exist, expecting support without structure, freedom without responsibility. That tension reportedly weighed heavily on Rob and Michelle, who were said to be torn between protecting their son and setting boundaries. And then came the night that would later feel impossible to ignore. At a holiday gathering shortly before the tragedy, witnesses say Nick appeared agitated. Reports claim there was a heated exchange between him and his father. Nothing physical, nothing that in that moment suggested what would come next, but enough to make people uneasy. Enough that Rob and Michelle left early. What happened after that is still being pieced together. The next day, emergency responders were called to the family's home. Inside, Rob and Michelle were found unresponsive. The scene was quickly treated as a homicide. The details were disturbing, and within hours, police named a suspect. Nick was taken into custody later that day. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and held without bail. During his first court appearance, he didn't enter a plea. His legal team asked for more time, and the case is now moving slowly through the legal system, where evidence, not rumors, will determine what happens next. As news spread, reactions poured in from everywhere. Hollywood figures expressed disbelief. Longtime friends shared memories of Rob's kindness and Michelle's quiet strength. And the remaining family members released a statement asking for privacy as they tried to process a loss that no one should ever have to face. Online speculation exploded. Old clips resurfaced, stories circulated. Some reports claimed troubling behavior in the past. Others tried to piece together motives before authorities had released one. But it's important to say this clearly. Much of what's circulating is unverified. Investigators have not publicly confirmed what led to the deaths, and no motive has been officially established. What is known is this: a family spent years trying to help a son who was struggling. A son spent years battling demons that didn't care about money, fame, or opportunity. And somewhere along that road, everything collapsed. This isn't just a crime story. It's a story about pressure, mental health, and the limits of love. It's about how even the most successful families can be powerless against certain battles. And it's about how quickly a legacy built for decades can become overshadowed by a single devastating moment. As the case continues, more facts will come out. Some questions will be answered, others may never be. But beyond the headlines, what remains is a reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from pain, and that some struggles don't end the way we hope they will. And that's what makes this story so hard to forget.